So get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee or tea, and let's get into how you can use storytelling to elevate your own brand and grow the right following. Hi, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Julie. We're lifelong friends and entrepreneurs who have spent the past 15 years building successful businesses. Yep, we've done the scary stuff in business and in life.
We created this podcast to empower and inspire women to be bold and courageous in their personal and professional journeys. Each week, we explore stories, insights, and practical tips to help you harness your knowledge and experiences to create and grow your business or improve your life. If you're ready to take action, or even if you're just dreaming about building the life you deserve, you've come to the right place.
Get ready to step out of your comfort zone as we celebrate bravery, share inspiring interviews, and offer the guidance you need to blossom into your fullest potential. Okay, friends, let's be brave together. This is the Brave Looks Good on You podcast.
Hey y'all, it's Melissa.
And I'm Julie, and we're looking forward to today's episode. We're diving into something that we all love and connect with, and that is stories. From the time we were little kids, stories have captivated us, and that hasn't changed as we've gotten older, has it?
No, I love a good story. They're powerful. When I'm with somebody or around somebody that's telling a great story, I feel like I'm connecting better, learning. So when it comes to branding, if you think about like your business, they're like magic kind of, because they can tap into people's emotions. They really make a mark with your audience. They're not going to forget that story, but there's really more to it than just telling any old story. It really has to be authentic and in your own voice.
Yes. And you know what? Right now, as we're recording this, the Olympics are on. So, when they show the backstory of what an athlete has been through, their parents typically are a huge part of the story. Often they have like a big setback that they've been through, how they've had to overcome some injury or some illness or some story that tugs at your heartstrings, right? And now they're competing at the highest level at the Olympics. So when we watch them win or compete or whatever, knowing that backstory about them makes you have so much more feelings about what they were able to accomplish, right?
You're kind of invested in them all of a sudden.
Yeah. So it's really the same for us as content creators. We need to weave some compelling narratives that resonate with our followers. So, like when you're at a networking event, people often ask, what's your story? It's our go-to question because stories tell us so much more about a person.
Yes. And you know how I love that when someone asks me that at a networking event. Just kidding. Have that elevator pitch ready. But no, for real, let's be honest. When somebody's asking that, you're not going to respond with, I got my bachelor's degree in marketing from the University of Arkansas. I mean, that's true of you, Julie.
Right.
I know that's true, right?
But I would never say that.
But it's not. Yeah, it's just not what draws people into you at all.
Yeah. So we're all about the stories that are memorable and relatable. So today we're going to get those creative juices flowing and help you dig deep to find and tell your own story.
And remember, a well-crafted story is not just about sharing facts. That's really boring. It's not going to capture attention. But it's really about finding your voice, your personality, and making it stand out. This is key in a very loud world of social media and competition. So get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee or tea, and let's get into how you can use storytelling to elevate your own brand and grow the right following.
All right. So as we know, sharing relatable stories can help demonstrate the benefits of your product or service. And I want to talk about this example. I hope that you all have seen it, but if not, I'm going to link to it in the show notes so you can watch it. But Melissa, have you seen this? It's an Airbnb commercial and it's on TV. And it's the one that shows a family checking into a hotel room. And it says, when you share a hotel room with your kid, you also share a bedtime with your kid. And it shows the mom and dad and the kid, and they're like putting on literally, they have matching pajamas and they're getting in the bed together. It's daylight still outside.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say, but if you stay at an Airbnb, you get to choose your own bedtime.
Yes. And it's animated. I think that kind of gives a whole nother dynamic to it so anybody could relate. And I do love it. It shows the mom and dad downstairs, like after they've tucked their kid in, looking out at the Eiffel Tower, dancing, so romantic. And that's a story being told, and we can all relate to that and travel, because you and I were just talking about this before we started recording. I'm a family of 5. So we had some pretty awkward hotel, like lots of people in one room.
Like who's going to take that third person in the bed?
Exactly. So well played, Airbnb, because I feel like it kind of played on your emotions, and it showed the truth of what we all know to be true as we travel. I loved it. Okay, so we want to share 4 tips to great storytelling, which is a huge part of your voice and your branding.
So, number one, probably one of the most important things, right, is to know your audience. And while this may
Mhm.
seem super simple, I think that this is where many businesses get hung up. We have.
For
We've
sure.
definitely
Yes.
questioned who is our audience time and
Yeah,
time
who are we
again.
talking to?
Yeah. So if you aren't sure who you're talking to, then it's hard for you to craft your story. So you need to
Mhm.
understand who your audience is, what are their needs, what are their interests, and who
Yeah.
are you trying to attract. You need to understand things like their demographics, their pain points, and what motivates them. And then you can tailor your content to resonate with their specific needs and desires.
And Julie,
Um,
a little side note on this is that when you do that also, it's easier to create content because you sort of have a starting
yeah,
point. So I think it really helps you once you establish that of a direction.
exactly. I mean, let's think about it. If I have a photography business that consists mostly of newborns, my story and my message will be very different from a photographer that takes pictures of sporting events. And to
Mm-hmm.
take this even further, you might need to create audience personas. Have you heard of that? And this
Yeah.
means coming up with detailed profiles of your ideal customer. You might also have heard of this as your ideal customer avatar or your ICA.
Yeah.
And you can literally like write down what this person looks like to a T. What do they wear? Where do they shop?
Yeah.
Things like what do they watch on TV? What are their hobbies? And write all that down and put it on a sticky note and put it on your computer screen and talk to that person every time you start
Yeah.
thinking about your messaging.
Blow up a big old fat head. Are those still a thing?
Yeah,
Fat heads? And put that on the wall in front of you. And every time you're doing something, you're like, am I talking to her? Am I
that's
talking to him?
that's a great idea.
Okay, so now that we got that established, the second thing we need to think about, and we've said this before, and you all know this, but I think we really need to remember it when we're giving out messaging, is to number 2, be authentic and relatable. Now that sounds easy, but as we know, and Julie and I are very different in this right here, it really comes with a level of vulnerability that you might not expect. So if you are willing to do it though, and get vulnerable and do what's comfortable to you, because that's the other thing, you want to be comfortable in what you're sharing
Yeah,
too.
you need to feel
But you're going to
natural.
yes, but when you do it right, you're going to build trust, you're going to build connection. And you all know that thinking about other brands you love. You connect or relate to those people. And this is where you're sharing your real stories that reflect your brand values, your mission, your culture. It shows the human side of your business. And this would include like behind the scenes content. People love that. And also customer success stories. That's good too when it's somebody else, speaking about the business. And when you use a conversational tone there, it's really going to engage your audience better. And this is what really helps build that community of the right followers, which is what we're talking about, getting the right people, but also help them interact and engage.
All right, those are great. The next thing is we want to be visual with our storytelling. And this is something that you might not have considered. And it's very important that you are changing this up, not always using the same visuals over and over. So, you want to use images, videos, like informational graphics to enhance your storytelling. And visuals capture the attention and convey the messages much more effectively than text alone. So, making your
Hmm.
stories more memorable. And we get a lot more likes and interaction when we post pictures of us that are more behind the scenes and real. It's kind of hard to believe, sometimes, but think about it. You want
Yeah.
to get to know the people behind the products or the services that you're interested in. This is where it's important to be consistent on your colors and your fonts and your styles and just in your general overall look of things and, not
Hmm.
just the type of content, but how you're presenting it, how you come across, how you show up and also showing up consistently.
Yeah. That's all so important, which gets us to the fourth thing. And this is key. And I know this from my other business. This right here to me is what really connects you with your audience and can also just build fans, that enjoy your stuff too. Like you're entertaining them as well as, hopefully selling to them or whatever it is. And that's to engage and interact. I cannot tell you how important this is. So our stories are super important, but also what we do after the story That's the springboard that connects directly to the audience. And what I'm saying here is if you do something that's going to spark a discussion or an engagement, and you've invited your audience into that to share or even just comment, respond. Like make sure you're showing up. And if they're, leaving a comment in Instagram, not only heart it, but like comment back. If it's Facebook or something like that, make sure you are addressing, I mean, if you can, every comment, especially as you're growing, just say something back to them. And also, on that note, to get this kind of engaging content, you really want to ask those open ended questions or maybe go live. That makes a lot of people nervous, I know. But like once you do it a few times, just rip the band aid off. You can do it. Polls are really good, like in stories, that gets people to answer back. That's something really quick they can do. And just then pay attention to the feedback and the interactions to sort of tweak what you're going to do next. And when you do respond to the comments and messages, it really shows appreciation. And I promise you will build relationships with those people. It's pretty incredible how that works. And just use insights from doing this to adapt and refine your storytelling approach.
Okay. So let's talk about some real examples. And I want you to think about your favorite brands and places you like to go. And I want to point out that you probably relate to them on a level beyond just the actual product or the service. And that's because you've made an emotional connection with them. So, an example that I thought of is Nike. We know that Nike is top dog of advertising, right? And I
Just
love,
do it.
yeah. I mean, we all know that, but using an
Yeah.
athlete's journey and their struggles to inspire
Mhm.
consumers to connect with their own perseverance and achievement or dreams, we relate. Therefore, we want to buy
Mhm.
those Nike jerseys or the shoes.
Yes. I'm always here to buy something, especially the shoes. No, that is so true. Another example too, like Apple ads, they often use storytelling, like high quality images, minimal design, along with music and a real simple story. And many times the story doesn't even have dialogue. So their video brings you into the scene and you watch it like you're watching a highly anticipated new blockbuster movie or waiting on Brave Looks Good on You's new season to drop, right? And the Apple product makes casual appearances throughout that.
Okay, so I want to just quickly summarize and give you some specific things you can do and where and how you can apply all of this as an entrepreneur. So, as a recap, number one is to know your audience. Understand your target audience's interests, values, and pain points to craft stories that resonate with them. Write these down and keep them posted at your desk so that you're always thinking of your ICA. This can also be your past self, the
Hmm.
you before you were the you that you are today.
Yeah. Yeah, who you wish you'd have had.
Yeah,
Hadn't we heard that before?
right.
Like, be who you wish you would have had. That's really good. Yeah. And then 2, be authentic. Authenticity is key. Like we said, genuine stories. Think through as you're doing things. Like, hey, that'd make a good story to tell, like about your brand's journey, challenges, triumphs. People want to know more about you personally. So share that.
Okay. And remember, the visual storytelling is huge. Leverage all the ways that you can tell your brand story and reach a wider audience. Sharing yourself in photos, videos, and in stories helps your audience follow along in your actual real life.
Yes, definitely. And the fourth one was to engage and interact. And that's like, don't create this fantastic content and get your story just right and then ignore any interactions it creates. So make sure that once you are doing it and you're putting yourself out there and posting those things, that you're actually then engaging back with your community. And when you do that, I feel like you're focusing on the human element. It really highlights that human side of who you are. And people know there's someone behind that brand and product.
And so when you do all of this, you are not only building a great community, but you're building the right community. The people that love your story and your brand are the ones most likely to buy from you. So keep this in mind as you make your plan and brainstorm your audience.
Yes, you've got this. And if you love this episode, make sure to share it with your friends. You can even text it right to your friends and also just leave us a review because the more we get of those, the more our episodes are heard by other people. So we sure do appreciate you. Hope you have a great week. And remember that brave looks good on you.
Bye, y'all. Often it's about showing. Hang on. I need a
Got a
drink.
frog.
Got a frog.
Got a frog in her throat. It's part of the story. Okay. So we're going to move through that. Or, sorry. Okay. So now we got what in the world? Take 17.
Okay. Don't go off script. Okay. Back her up.